What is up, folks? Welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. I'm your gracious host, as always, Harold McBasketball. Along with my co-host, I know Ball Paul. Paul, how are you, man? NBA season has kicked off. First official episode. Now that there's actually basketball being played, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I love coming home from work and watching basketball. I love seeing Wembenyama living up to the hype. That's been um my highlight of the first week or so of the NBA season. The Celtics are undefeated, so I'm in great spirits, especially in regards to the NBA. So I'm feeling great. Um, and I won my first week of fantasy, and it's looking good on this Sunday. So no complaints here, Harold. What about you?
Yes, I'll start to the year. I definitely feel like it's lived up to the hype. Like a lot of like the big storylines we were getting have definitely come through in a big way. I think Wembanyama is definitely the biggest storyline so far. He's amazing and like immediately one of the best players in the league. So excited that we get to watch him for the next decade plus. He's amazing. As you mentioned, our Celtics are amazing. They look like, one of the top two teams in the league. It's like that's awesome. And yeah, there's just been tons of excitement, tons of good storylines. Are you a big James Harden trade? It's like this is what we've been waiting for. It's like the content is just everywhere now. And we probably can't touch on all of it in this episode, but we'll definitely run through some of the highlights and things that really stood out so far this year.
It's early in the season, and I don't remember it was a long off season of podcasts. So I don't remember everything we said, but it feels like, a week and a half in or so, we had some good takes, and there's not too much happening that's like out of nowhere. I mean, obviously I was a bit hot on the Mavericks. They're off to a hot start. I don't think it's gonna last. I think they've only lost one game, but the Pelicans are doing well, which you were hot on them. You were not hot on the Mavericks. I was not hot on the Pelicans, but
Yeah, a little a little switcheroo there, but yeah, it's like I feel like I think we've hit on more takes than we've missed.
feels
There have
like
definitely been there have been some misses. Who knows? It's a long season, so like we'll see. But definitely like not like the hottest start for my boy Jalen Green, which is like we'll see how that goes. Like the Rockets kind of look like they kind of look awful right now. I don't really expect them to turn around, but I think Jalen Green can actually do a bit better than he is right now. So we'll see there. We haven't hit on everything, but there's definitely been some good highlights.
but at the same time, he looks, maybe the same or a bit better than last year, and he's still a great scorer. But yeah, as far as maybe taking that next leap, we're not seeing that. We're also Scoot. I don't think either of us had particularly hot takes, but I think by the end of the offseason, we were convinced that because of how big of a role he was going to have, and he looked good in summer league, he was not going to be awful. And so far, he's been like maybe the least efficient player in the.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
I
a
did. I did insinuate briefly at one point that his preseason stats were like very bad, and his efficiency in the preseason was like a little concerning. But I don't think anyone expected him to be like this bad, this rocky. I think he's still gonna be really good. I think it's clear he's not gonna be very good this season though. Like it's just like the
yeah.
efficiency is not gonna be there. I think we expected the decision making to be better. The Blazers are just an interesting team, in whole. It's like it really felt like it was gonna be like Scoot primarily running the show with like Simons being there to hit down threes from good passes from him. And like it's just been the Shaden Sharp show. Like turns out he's like by far their best prospect. Like he's absolutely electric. So that's been really cool to see because I love Shaden Sharp.
Yeah, it's too bad Simons went down, but
I
Aiden a
so,
very up and down season as well. It's interesting to see.
yeah, it feels like Aiden's been heating up as of lately though. Like I think he had
Yeah,
like a 20 rebound game like 2 games ago or something like that. So I kind of think he's gonna find his groove. It is a shame that Simons went down so early because we were both really excited about him. But I think him going down early has allowed Shaden Sharp to like take on this bigger role. And now you really see what he's made of. So like although it kind of sucks in the short term for them, I think long term it actually might be a good thing.
yeah. Aiden so far only scoring 11.2 points. It's early. I think he'll maybe find his groove, but with the talent on that team, I was very much convinced that he'd be scoring more than last year, not like 6 or 7
Yeah. Yeah,
less.
I was definitely also expecting him to be averaging 20 points per game. Like that could change because he had a really slow start to the year. Like his first game scored 4 points, 14, and 7. But like the last 3 games have been 10 points, 23 rebounds, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 16
Yeah.
points, 12 rebounds. And like the defensive stats have also been like amazing. Like in those games, it was 1 steal, 5 steals, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 1 block, 1 block. So I think he's kind of heating up now, actually. I'm kind of getting hot on Aiden again. I think he's gonna have a really big year. And he's already been really good for fantasy. Like he's actually gonna be a steal. So I think he's gonna look awesome.
Mm.
Nurkic has looked a little bit mid for the Suns, so I think a lot of people definitely said they were getting the talent downgrade, doing that swap. And like, yes, it's not looking great, but I guess it's the locker room thing.
But Nurkic at least looks like a decent fit in
Yeah,
terms.
he's competent. He's competent. He can start. He's a good passer, really good rebounder. They need that. I think he's a good fit for them. But I think Aiden's looking really good actually.
Yeah, and Brogdon's looked pretty solid. Rob hasn't really found
Yeah,
the, but
yeah. I mean, with they definitely want Aiden to take on a big role. So I don't know if Rob will ever have the minutes. I actually wouldn't be surprised if maybe a team tries to come in and make a trade for Rob if like it becomes very clear that Aiden is gonna like lock down the starting role. And he's been playing like 35 plus minutes per game the last couple of goes. And you can't play them both really at the same time because they're both very true centers and don't spread the floor. So it's something that I think Zach Lowe said, like maybe like the Grizzlies look at making a trade for Rob since they one suck and like two just have like a gaping hole at their starting center position right now that Steven Adams is out. So I don't know. I kind of like to see him move because I think he's so good and I think he deserves to start somewhere.
actually the Grizzlies might be the most surprising thing so far. I think they've lost
Yeah,
all
they're
five or
so
six.
bad. Yeah, they're 0-6 right now. I don't think anyone expected them to be good with like Ja Morant hurt and then Steven Adams going down, but I think most people figured they could at least stay afloat. That's what I'd figured. I'd be like, just try your best, just be like a couple games under 500 by the time Ja comes back, gets like a 4 or 5 seed, and then have another really good playoff run as they always seem to do. But this is bad. Like this looks like they are the worst team in the league right now by like a pretty wide margin. And if Ja comes back and they're like 5-20, they might not be able to do it. They might not be able to get back in it. But I think they probably I think they can skate by because with the play in, it's like you can pretty much get into the play in with like 38 wins. So
Yeah.
it's like I think they'll be okay, but like yeah, it's looking rough right now. And they're looking so bad to where like maybe like Ja coming back like isn't even enough for them. Because something else I mentioned is they had a really easy strength of schedule last season, which like helped them get to such a high win total. So like if they're not really that team and now it's just the schedule and I don't know, it's possible this team's not that good. Love to see how they look when Ja comes back.
Yeah. I mean, I believe obviously Steven Adams going down really sucks because I think Jaren Jackson has very big rebounding issues.
Yeah.
Um, and like Brandon Clark, although is not, he's not a huge difference maker, not having him or Santi Aldama, they are missing some pieces. Um, but then again, 5-6 losses. It's not coming down to that. You would think that between Bain, JJJ, Smart, that they would have at least beaten like the Trailblazers, which they lost to in overtime the other night.
Yeah, and they're all like absurdly bad losses. Like they lost the Jazz by like almost 30, who are also like one of the worst teams in the league. Mavs beat them by like 20. Actually, look at some of the other ones though. Like some of them are kind of close. Also the Wizards though by like 10, and like the Wizards look like absolutely atrocious. I mean maybe you're right, they're not the worst team in the league because of the Grizzlies, but I don't know, they're pretty damn close. Like they are beyond terrible. And Poole has like been really bad.
Yeah, that's
Like he looks a little bit like a not real player. Like I definitely see why the Warriors got him out of there. So inefficient, terrible decision maker. So him and Kuzma are just a recipe for tanking.
yeah, funny because I don't know. I thought they wouldn't be the worst team. I mean, we ironically joked, well, like semi-ironically, that I thought they would be like a decent duo and it might be like a somewhat fun team. I didn't think they had any legitimate shot of making playoffs or even the play in, but
Yeah,
um
it's when we were picking like our bottom 3 teams essentially in the East. We're trying to like figure out that order. So
and
it's
in a
like,
way I was right. I mean, Poole and Kuzma seem to be getting along great, throwing lobs.
Oh yeah,
It's sound
they're
funny.
they're
Like
perfect for each other.
the vibes are clicking,
Yeah, like
like
lob
I
off the
expected.
glass down 30.
But I didn't anticipate them clicking almost being worse. Like that's a worse thing for the team that they're getting along
Yes.
so well. They enable each other.
They really do. Like they're just out there to get their highlights, try to get as many points as possible regardless of efficiency. Yeah, that team sucks. I hate watching them.
Yeah. So far this season, I've watched. I usually watch the first half of the Celtics games because they tend to be blowouts, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna check out another team. But I've watched like every Spurs game. Man, I cannot. And because
Yeah, no,
when
I totally agree. Like the Spurs have been must-watch TV. Like I think outside the Celtics, like me as well, it's been like just Spurs all day. Because they're legit like pretty good. Because not only is Wembanyama amazing and like maybe already like a top, he's definitely top 20. Like is he top 10 already? Like maybe. Like he's already one of the best players in the league. Super exciting to watch. Does it all. Great dribbler. 3-point shot has been phenomenal. They throw him so many lobs also. Like he's always getting like ridiculous like layup lobs, which is like really fun to watch. And then the surrounding cast is like fun. It's like Sohan at point guard is like really cool, really fun. It's had its problems, but it's been fun to watch. I like Sohan. And like Kelton Johnson's looked really good. Vassell is like really crafty, really good scorer. Zach Collins has been like pretty good for them also. Like it's just like a good, like well assembled team with like good young talent that has a lot of fun on the basketball court.
yeah, and those are my favorite teams to watch. I don't know if they're going to make playoffs. I think they now have like a decent chance of sneaking in, but
Yeah,
regardless,
currently seven. Obviously, it's very early, but yeah, 3-2, and like they have like some pretty impressive wins. Like they beat the Suns back to back, which is like kind of insane. Let's see, they're playing the Raptors right now. I assume that'll be an easy win. They'll get like 4-2. They got demolished by the Clippers by 40, so
yes, yes,
that's
they
worth noting. But like close game with the Mavs. They let's see, beat the Rockets, so they're looking good.
the Suns have been a tough watch, I must say.
Yeah, they're 2-4 right now, but they we haven't really seen the team. Like Booker's been hurt for most of it. Beal has been hurt for all of it. Beal has not played yet.
I think Booker's only missed a
And
couple games though. Like
well, we're only a couple of games into the season. If you miss 2 or 3 games right now, like that's a big deal.
I know, but they've played six already. I think they're playing their seventh, and he's missed, two of six, which I or maybe three. Maybe I'm wrong, but he played in one of those Spurs games, and it was him, Durant, and the surrounding cast. No Beal, obviously, but I don't know. I think there's some huge red flags with the Suns, and that's not to say that you know, they're gonna have a decent regular season, but I think this team has major concerns and red flags as far as defense, as far as like the offense being efficient. Like I don't know, KD
But
mid ranges can only take you so far.
yeah, but Book has only played 2 games this season.
Okay, I stand
So
corrected.
so he's missed four, about to miss his fifth.
Gotcha.
So like it's like kind of the way I see it is like really they went like all in on building this big three with kind of like nothing else around it.
Yeah,
And the big three is just like not playing. It's like Durant looks good, like Book looks good when he plays, but he has been playing. Beal hasn't played. I think they'll look better when all three are together, but I think there's probably like redundancies between like Book and Beal to where I don't know how much better they get with Beal. And yeah, like there hasn't been like a whole lot to love with the surrounding cast, and the defense is just terrible.
yeah. Two losses to the Spurs is concerning. One of them they probably shouldn't have lost. Like Durant kind of got hacked for that game winning.
Yeah, that like layup with like 5 seconds left or whatever.
Okay, but yeah, if Book only played two games, then I think I need to reevaluate. And I don't know, Grayson
Yeah.
has had some good moments. Eubanks has had some
Mm.
good moments. So
Yeah, Eubanks is a great backup center. So I I'd like to see how the team looks when it all comes together.
yeah.
I don't think they're going to be amazing. Like I definitely think they're a tier below all of these better teams in the West. But I think they're better than what they are right now.
Who else have you been watching a lot of?
Let's see who's been intriguing me. The Magic have kind of intrigued me. Like, I've been finding myself like tuning into a bunch of the Magic games just because they always seem to find themselves in close matchups. There's a lot of like young guys who are like talent scouting on that team as well. it was a slow start for Bankero, but he looks amazing now. And then they got Franz. They have this like really interesting group of guards between, they got Fultz. Suggs has been like decent, like not like very good, but
Yeah.
playable. He's starting. Um, Cole Anthony's been really good. I love him. He's an awesome scorer, super shifty, great shooter. I've been loving what I've been seeing out of him. They still have Anthony Black. He's not playing a ton, but he looks promising in the minutes he does get. I think it's a fun team, and like they smacked the Lakers the other day, so they look legit. They look like a playoff team.
Didn't Wendell just get hurt? Something happened with him.
Yeah, Wendell is getting like I think hand surgery, but
Oh,
he's only
some
supposed to he's
finger.
yeah he's only supposed to miss like 3 weeks, so it's like that hurts. Um, but I think it gives them the opportunity to go small ball if they really want to. Like I hope they like put out a lot of lineups with Bankero at center, Franz power forward, maybe throw Jonathan Isaac in there for like some interior defense without Wendell Carter Jr. there. But I think that would be a good lineup too. So I think they can make do even without Wendell Carter Jr.
I forget. I tuned into a bit of a Magic game and Isaac stuffed the shit out of someone. I forget who though. Maybe it was
I
Jalen
don't know.
Green. I think he might have stuffed the shit out of Jalen Green.
Damn it, Jalen, come on,
That was awesome.
make me look bad.
But yeah, Paolo, like you said, a rough start. Franz kind of, I don't know. I feel like he looks better than last year, but the stats are kind of same old, same old. Like he's still averaging his. Actually, he seems to have picked it up. He's up to 20 right now. We love
Very
that.
nice, very nice. Yeah,
We love
there's like a good cohesive team, which I like. It's like I don't think like anyone's like truly like standing out, but like they're getting wins. They move the ball well. They it feels like they have a lot of
Yes.
versatile defenders that they can put out there. And I think the team's kind of deep. Like it just feels like a real team, which I feel like is a big deal for the Magic since they haven't been a real team since Dwight Howard left a decade ago.
Yeah. We love that for them. Hopefully they can keep it up. I mean, last year they started the season, I think 0-10, and then like second half of the season they were actually like a 500 team. So
Yeah,
that's why I was decently hot on them as well. Yeah, hopefully they can keep it up because like you said, I think they're a cohesive group, which is super important. And yeah, we're rooting for them. Damn, yeah, they're in fourth place right now. I mean, 6 games in, we're not really.
right. It's like we all remember the start the Blazers had last year where they were number one in the standings. I think through like the first 10 games or something like that. And then they just like completely fell apart as expected. But yeah, don't never put too much stock into like the first couple
No.
of games. Everyone's still figuring out their lineups. Sometimes players come in hot and cool down. So you never really know. But like there are some fun storylines, and it's fun to overreact. Like I love it. I love like putting too much stock in these first couple of games.
I'll put too much stock into the Sixers being 4-1 because with Harden gone, I love this team. I think the vibes are where they need to be. There's still rumors of Embiid maybe getting traded, and I think he can maybe he's not always the best vibe, but with Maxey taking the helm, getting some veterans back in the Clippers deal, albeit some not very good veterans, but I think it just adds to the good vibes of this team. I love the idea of Melton and Maxey as a starting pairing with Melton being, I think, a very good defender, very switchable. Maxey's also not a bad defender, but obviously more offensively oriented. They just have good pieces. I think the Oubre signing was solid. I think Paul Reed is awesome as a backup, and Embiid can be the.
Totally.
I
Yeah,
love it.
Oubre was such a good pickup. That was something we said this offseason where we're like, why do no teams want Kelly Oubre or Christian Wood? We're like, we swear they're good players. Like, I don't know like what
Yeah.
front offices know that we don't, but like these guys give like really valuable minutes. And Oubre has been amazing for the Sixers, like phenomenal pickup, total steal. And even Christian Wood has been like actually pretty good for the Lakers. So those were both head scratchers and like great move by the Sixers. Hard moving away is definitely allowed Maxi to step into a bigger role. He's been awesome. I think he's averaging like 22 points, six
He's
assists, 5 rebounds.
all-star,
He gets a lot of rebounds, like someone who's really small. That always surprises me. I feel like he's someone who should get like 2 rebounds per game, but he gets a good amount. So he's been awesome. Embiid still looks amazing, and it's like as long as you have Embiid, like you're gonna be pushing for a good playoff run. I think they can still do it with him. And like Tobias has actually stepped up a little bit this year now that Harden's gone. Because like Harden leaving does open up some points to be scored. And Tobias is stepping up and Uber is stepping up. So I think I think as long as they've got Embiid and Maxey, like this team is still super competitive. And I think still easily like remains like a top three team in the East.
I will say though, with Oubre, I feel like he does have a trend of like starting the season off really hot and then he just kind of plummets at the end. So I'm
Right.
not gonna buy any stock in him. In fact, I might sell a bit, but um, so far so good. And like you said, Tobias is a great player. He just
Yeah, he's efficient. He's a good shooter. He's kind of exactly what you want around Maxi and Embiid. He's just like a good like secondary scorer where he's awesome to get the ball off like driving kicks. Super consistent. He'll easily just get you like 17 points per game. Maybe shooting like 38, 40% from three. He's just a good player and he's
yeah.
big, so he's like a good enough defender.
And it's great that Oubre can maybe pick up some of the very tough forward assignments that Tobias has maybe been stuck with over the years. Because Tobias is a very
Yeah.
talented offensive player. He's a big body, so he can defend, but I think he's asked to do a lot and kind of gets the short end of the stick when like
Yeah, it's definitely not like a strong suit. He's not like this like prototypical like 3-and-D defender because he's not like super fast. So like he can definitely get exposed in some harder matchups, but he's looked really good. I actually just pulled up his stats. I'm kind of surprised. He's averaging 21 points per game this season on 45% from three, which is insane. It's like that is huge for this team. Obviously, like 3-point shooting is going to come down a little bit as the season goes, but Harden did leave a lot of points open for this team, so I could totally see Tobias averaging like 20 points per game the rest of the season.
yeah, Harden, I have him in fantasy. I'm excited for him to play finally, making his debut for the Clippers tomorrow. But I really do think he's an absolute cancer to a team, to a locker room. Much deeper than the personality. I think the play style is not conducive to good team basketball. And basketball is just it's a team sport. The best teams get everyone involved in one way or another. Not everyone has to touch the ball to be involved, but if you want everyone to buy in, everyone needs to have a role. That's like a bit more than just like standing in the corner waiting for an assist. Uh,
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think. Oh, God.
I was just gonna say I think we're gonna see a lot of guys flourish now that like 30% of their usage isn't just Harden spam dribbling, you know.
Yeah, his offensive play style is definitely not conducive to team unity. And yeah, it's like, and I try not to put too much stock in like media quotes because it's like they're not always like the players don't always take those interviews super seriously. But he did say he's like, I don't play in a system, I am the system, or something along those lines. And I was like, maybe don't bring that mentality to the Clippers because I think the expectation when you're playing with Kawhi and PG, it's like although like yeah, you're gonna run the point, you're gonna have the ball a lot. You have to be willing to defer to Kawhi because Kawhi is still like very clearly the best player on that team. He's had an amazing start to the year. This Clippers team is super interesting, but Harden has to be willing to show up to this team and fit in rather than try to take over and be the top dog because that just can't be the case. Like it has to be Kawhi.
It's going to be weird seeing how that team works itself out with the personalities there. I mean,
Yeah, and we've seen Westbrook and Harden play on the same team before, and like yeah, it's not that they didn't like each other, but it certainly just didn't work out in Houston. Like their two play styles, they're just like so ball dominant, and they play so poorly off ball that they just don't really mesh very well. So getting them back together in LA is going to be weird. PG likes to have the ball, although he's like very willing to defer. And as I mentioned, like Kawhi just needs it. Like Kawhi's like proven out. We were a little bit worried about it coming into the season that the injuries were like really starting to take a toll on him, but he looks as amazing as ever. So if he can stay healthy, like he's got to be the guy for that team.
it's going to be the Clippers are going to be very interesting. And I mean, with the amount of talent and like Harden, he has his honeymoon phase, so I think that should at least like carry them through this season and make them contenders, in my opinion, because he will be happy and in good spirits. But further than that, I think this team is a recipe for disaster. And maybe that makes them not legit contenders because when push comes to shove, I think there's too many issues there.
Yeah, and I feel like you see this time and time throughout NBA history where it's like as these like NBA like 10-time like NBA All-Star players like get close to the end of their careers, like they get older. It's like you see a bunch of them like join the same team as like an example I love talking about is like the Rockets team. There was like Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, and it's like, oh my god, this big three is insane. But they're all just like older, and like the team just kind of crumbles into nothing. I can kind of see that happening with this Clippers team. Like on paper, like 10 years ago, this team is like the best team in the league, but I don't know if that's the case anymore.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, and they lost a bit of depth through that trade. I mean, not really,
Yeah,
yes, but
yeah. I think they still have enough, but like because they literally have like four star players. If maybe Russ isn't anymore, but like still like four studs. They still have Terrence Mann. Zubats is okay. I believe they still have Mason Plumlee, who's pretty good. So although it's like the depth isn't great, like they do have enough players like put out like a competent starting five with like one or two guys off the bench.
yeah, they're off to a 3-2 start, so we shall see. Man, Mavericks 4-1 though.
I I don't know if I buy into this four
I
and
don't
one.
buy into it.
They've had a very easy schedule.
Luca
Like
tends to get
the
off to very hot starts too. And
yeah,
not
it's
that
like
he
it's like
doesn't stay amazing, but he tapers off a bit with like the crazy stat lines for sure.
yeah, their four wins are against Spurs. Spurs are pretty good. That was like the Spurs' first game
Yeah.
of the season. Like Wemby wasn't that good that game, and then it was Nets who aren't that good. Grizzlies, worst team in the league. Bulls, one of the worst teams in the league, and they got smoked by
Okay.
the Nuggets. So it's like I kind of need them to play some more serious teams before I can like really judge them. But what I will say is like last year, it feels like the Mavs would have found a way to drop one or two of those games that should have been easy wins. So the fact that they didn't do that and like they're at least winning the games that they're supposed to win, I think that alone actually is like kind of huge. So I'm putting like a little bit of stock into it. I don't think they're like a top three team in the West, but it does feel like if they're going to keep winning the games they should win, that would put them in a position to be like, a couple wins over 500. Like maybe this is like a 46, 47 win team, fourth or fifth seed, far higher than I had them. So I don't know. They look decent.
Right about where I had them though.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. A lot of games left to be played, so we'll see. There's always time too for like a Kyrie Irving meltdown, although he seems
Of course.
happy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They've been nice. Like Derek Lively has been like a fun surprise. Like he's kind of just what they needed. Really good rebounder, really good rim protector, pick and roll guy. So that was a good draft pick. Grant has looked really good. Like we obviously loved Grant in Boston. He's been playing like a good secondary role in offense, just like good shooter, good defender. And yeah, and then like Luka's just been absolutely like out of this world good. Probably the top candidate right now to win MVP. So if he plays at that level the entire season, that alone might be enough to just like will this team to like a top five seed.
Exactly. Yeah. And Josh Green, I think worth mentioning. He's a great 3-point 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, yeah, he's a good guy. I wish he was getting more minutes on this team. Like he is getting good minutes, but I
He's
don't know.
getting
I wish they were starting him because I believe he's coming off the bench right now.
Yeah, I think yeah. At least with Kyrie starting, I think it's Kyrie, Luca, Grant, someone,
And
or maybe Green starts. I don't know.
I don't think so. Let me pull their depth chart real quick actually because I think they might be starting like Hardaway or something. Oh
Probably.
my god! All right, no, this is bad. This needs to change. It's currently Luca, Kyrie, Grant, Derek Jones Jr., Derek Lively.
Ah,
That's insane that Derek Jones Jr. is starting on an NBA team.
he's
Like that
so
is such
bad.
an
I don't think
issue.
he
So bad. He literally like cannot play NBA offense.
I
Great
wonder
athlete and like decent defender, but he's literally like not a basketball player. He's just athletic.
somehow shooting
Like
36% behind the arc.
that's not going to keep up. There's no way.
No.
Yeah, get somebody else in there. Like maybe Josh Green. I mean Grant can play power forward. Like Grant power forward, Josh Green small forward. Maybe start Kleba. Start anybody else though. Like stop starting Derek Jones. I don't know what is happening with that.
Especially if you're going to start Lively, like that is extremely redundant. And like, well, I've seen some Mavs games, and Derek Jones is just like chilling by the 3-point line the whole time. It's like that kind of defeats.
Yeah, like get some more spacing out there because like Lively is just going to live in the paint. Like he's not going to be shooting. So putting like two non-shooters out there to play off of Luca like doesn't make a ton of sense. And Lively's such a good lob threat. Like he's a great athlete. It's like you don't need like him and Derek Jones Jr. in there to catch lobs from Luca. I'm sure it has its moments where it's awesome, but I don't think Derek Jones Jr. is catching like that many alley oops from Luca every game to like make it worth starting him.
No, no, he is not. That being said, though, in 20 minutes, averaging 10 points, I don't think any of this will keep up. Looking at his stats from previous seasons, but 2 rebounds, like, bro. But yeah, 10 points in 20 minutes, shooting 36% so far, not so bad. But
Not terrible. I'd still rather start Josh Green though.
yeah, I would as well. Anyway, I say we part two this. We've got 5 minutes actually, but maybe just part two it.
Yeah, yeah. Give us a fresh clock to talk about some more stuff.
All right, BRB. Just looking at Wemby highlights on Twitter as he destroys the Raptors.
Poor Raptors. They sucked. As you bring it up though, like I feel like something we should note though is we were both pretty low on like Barnes going into the year. Like not that we didn't think he was gonna have a good year, but we just had like a lot of questions about him. And we were definitely like, this is the year if we're gonna find out if he's legit or not. Because he hadn't really taken the steps we expected the previous year, but he looks so legit. He's legit so good.
Yeah,
He has been absolutely insane for the Raptors. And something I didn't foresee happening, or I think probably anybody else, is that he has like overtaken Siakam in a huge way this year. I think people still expect it to be like Siakam's team until they trade him, and then like Barnes could like really flourish. But he has stepped over him immediately this season. He has been scoring the ball really well, which is maybe like the biggest surprise because there were definitely some question marks there. And then everything else has been like as advertised. Like the passing is great, the rebounding is great, the defense is super impressive. He looks like a stud, and I think it's pretty clear that we definitely underranked him when we were doing our draft recaps. Like we probably had him at like 6 or 7 for the redraft, and it's like
yeah.
all of a sudden he's looking like maybe he's like a top 3 guy in that draft.
I
It's
feel like
early. That's like a big time overreaction, but he looks like a total stud.
yeah, we were both cold on him, but I think specifically I have been like a pretty strong Scotty Barnes doubter and hater. So far he's definitely yeah, made me rethink that. I mean, looking at his stats though, I think some of this is not sustainable, specifically shooting like 39% from three.
Yeah,
Uh,
probably not. He's definitely not never been known as a 3 point shooter, but 39% is also like not unattainable. Like we see that around the league.
for
Granted, like
Scotty, it is unattainable.
yeah, I would expect Scotty to drop down to more like 33%. I think that's
39 is like
probably
elite, man.
yeah, it is. It is. I would expect that to regress. But even when that comes down, like right now he's averaging 21 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks. He can do it all. He's like the prototypical point forward. So even if the 3 point shot starts falling off, it's like there's still so much else that he can do and brings to the table that he's just an incredible player to have. So if I'm the Raptors, like you've got your guy
Yeah.
here, get Siakam out of here. Like your team's terrible, so just go full tank and try to get one more young guy to pair with Barnes because he's clearly it.
Schroeder's been looking nice.
Schroeder's been looking so good. He's averaging like 10 assists a game.
I love Schroeder, but no, I think yeah, I was very too low on Scotty, and like he does do things on the basketball court that are like special in a sense. Like he's so strong and athletic, and the way he drives. So if he unlocks the 3 point shot, I will be eating my words so hard because yeah, some of the dunks and passes he pulls off, like it is kind of he's a special talent, and I think I feel stupid right now ranking him so low.
Yeah, and I think even if the 3 point shot doesn't get all the way there for Barnes, it's like I think he's clearly like so good that like he's going to be future All Star even without that 3 point shot, and if he gets it, like this guy's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, he was the 21 draft, right?
Yeah, so this is third season.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was definitely like it was definitely a packed draft class because essentially same year as like Cade, Green, Şengün, Mobley, Giddy. But it's like looking at it right now, it's like, does he go higher than
Franz.
Giddy? Right? Does he go higher than? He's definitely higher than Franz right now. Is he higher than Giddy right now? Like probably. I love Giddy, but like I think Barnes has been so good, like you can't really deny it. And like where it gets interesting is like, is he higher than Mobley now? It's probably I think it's a discussion now. Like I'm not going to put him over Mobley after 6 games, but I don't know. Like Barnes is looking so good that like he's in that discussion now, where it's like, is this guy like the best pick in this draft class? It's not impossible.
Mobley has looked really good so far. Cade has looked insane. Sangoon has looked really good. That whole
Yeah,
class.
Şengün's been amazing. Yeah, this is one of the best draft classes of like the last decade.
And we knew going in ranking that we were going to be so wrong, and we were doubting ourselves even ranking them. But
Yeah, and like that's why we wanted to do it because like we've been like so hot in this draft class like from the start. Like even like when the draft happened, like immediately we were like, these guys are all studs. We had Şengün circled immediately during the draft. Same with Giddy. So it's like we're always like really hype on it. Like some people are naturally gonna have to drop down a little bit just because the class was so stacked. But we'll definitely like revisit it at some point, maybe halfway through the year, maybe next off season. And yeah, things are definitely gonna shake up a lot when we redo it.
I look real quick at what we had everyone ranked
Yeah, go for it.
because I feel like Sean might have been the oh wait, did I fuck this up? Oh no, I didn't. You had Cade, Mobley, Sengun, Giddy, Green, Barnes, Franz.
Yeah, the Jalen Green over Barnes take is definitely that's already evaporated. Like I'm still holding out in Green to be good, but like clearly Barnes goes higher.
Sean though had Cade, Sengun, Barnes, Mobley.
Damn. What a take. What a take, Sean.
I mean,
Yeah, big
6 games
shout
into
out.
the season, he seems to have it pretty good. Cade, Sengun, Barnes, Mobley, yeah, Giddy, Franz, Green. Seems pretty spot on.
Yeah, no, that feels right.
I had Sengun, Mobley, Cade, Giddy, Franz, Kaminga, Barnes,
Oh my God.
Green.
Brutal.
Dude, Kaminga in the preseason, I was
Kaminga was electric in the preseason, and I think he clearly is good. But the Warriors are stacked.
ah,
Like he just doesn't have the minutes and the touches, and I don't think he quite has the confidence yet either
I
to take
watched
on a bigger role in that offense.
I've watched a fair amount of Warriors, and he is frustrating to watch play, I must say. He doesn't move a lot. Like, I don't know.
I,
And
I, I
he looks so good, but he just seems so uninspired when he plays.
yeah, in the preseason, it's like he was the guy. Like he was getting all the touches, all
Yeah.
the minutes. I think that's probably what he needs. Maybe the Warriors can like develop him to be this guy who can, play better off ball. He's definitely not there yet, but their stars are also older. So maybe they just hold on to him for a couple more years. And as people start to retire, change teams, then maybe he can get that bigger opportunity and be good. But yeah, it does feel like he kind of needs to be a focal point in the offense to be functional.
He's so stagnant off ball. He takes not very good shots. He like tries to post up too much and ends up taking like really bad shots. And like, I don't know. Even when he tries to take people off the dribble, I'm like, this doesn't look quite right.
Yeah, it looks so good the preseason though. Like the jump shot was going in, the cutting was great, the transition offense was amazing, athleticism was clearly incredible. So I still love him as a prospect, but like, yeah, obviously like
We're
Scotty
rooting for
Barnes is
him.
definitely jumping him in the rankings.
But the Warriors have looked great all in all.
Yeah, you were really hot on them in the when we were doing our preseason rankings. I was a bit lower, but bumped them up my list because you definitely persuaded me, and I was like, yeah, this team's definitely going to be good again. They are. So I think that's definitely expected, but nice to see because yeah, no, they're a fun team to watch, and they did a good job. The Chris Paul trade has worked out nicely, I think, especially with the way you see Poole playing right now. It's clear that Chris Paul makes his team a little bit better, even if he's not going to put up like godly numbers.
Yeah, Chris Paul's been a nice fit, but he's such a bad shooter and
Yeah,
such an inefficient scorer. It's a tough watch at times, but he makes up for it with the passing. The way he pushes the pace and makes the right passes in transition is just like more than enough to improve the team. And defensively, I don't think he's horrible.
yeah. He's a great connector, which is like exactly what they need out of him. Just like be a guy who gets the offense moving and maybe help get people out of position. It really should be a connector. Just like get the ball to Clay, get
Yeah,
the ball to Steph, ideally with a somewhat open three for them. And he's always been good at that throughout his career. So that's a really nice fit on that team, even if the defense is like sometimes a little questionable having all three of them out there at the same time.
and Chris just cannot shoot, man.
No, yeah, no, he lost at some point, like maybe when he turned like 34, 35. It's like the old bones just like couldn't quite get it up there. Has he not made a three yet this season?
he has.
Okay.
But I think maybe just one. He is shooting
Oh my God.
4.8%.
God, just stop taking him. And like,
That
granted, like
doesn't look.
he's probably only taking like one or two per game, but maybe not if he's shooting 5%. Like that makes me think he's taking a good few.
Where could I see? Yeah, because it's 4.8% too. So it's not like he's even,
Yeah, hold on, I can check. Um,
what would that be, like one of 20 or something?
that's kind of what I'm thinking, which would put him at like probably 2.53 ish per
He's
game.
probably like one of 21 or some shit.
Yeah, I can pull up his totals on Basketball Reference.
I see. Yeah, I see he's made one and then 5, 10. So I think he's one of 18.
Yeah, he's currently taking 3.5 threes per game, which is definitely too many. Yeah, I would like to see that come down to like two threes per game. Like if that, I get that like you kind of need to get them up there just to try to get the defense to play you there. But if you're gonna take four a game and hit them at a 5% clip, like they're just not gonna defend you out there. So I don't know. That's not great. But overall he's still been good. He's averaging 9 assists per game, which is awesome.
And the 2 point percentage, I think, is also pretty abysmal.
Yeah, I'm seeing 33%. So very bad, but also like unsustainably bad. Like the
Yeah.
2 point percent is going to go up. The 3 point percent is going to go up. Probably not dramatically. Like he's probably like a 30% 3 point shooter would be my bet, you know, with potential to be a little bit higher. But yeah, no, the shooting has definitely fallen off a bit like as he's gotten older.
Yeah. And when he puts him up, I'm like, it just feels like a brick. It looks like the ball is like too heavy for him the way he puts it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It looks like a chore. Like it
Yeah.
takes a lot of energy out of him.
All his body into it, and then it's just like a straight.
And it's just like it's like a beam too. Like there's no arc on it. So it's either like it's either splashing or it's just like hitting the back of the rim so hard.
And yeah, the layups, it's all not looking very good. But he made some tough fadeaway mid ranges. He still has a bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the passing is there. Something that's interesting actually, talking about the Warriors is like Wiggins has been like absolutely trash. Like he's been terrible this season.
Yeah, I thought he would be obviously really good, and that was a big reason I was like the Warriors are going to be way better because Wiggins is going to be back full time. I think he's going to improve, but I knew he'd suck in fantasy. That was something I was pretty confident in.
Yeah, because he doesn't do a whole lot other than score, and he's not even there's so many scorers on the team, like he's not scoring more than like, 18, 20 points per game. But yeah, right now, yeah, big drop off, averaging 12 points per game, 15% from three. So not great. He's got to find that 3 point stroke, but 15% is also like unsustainably bad. I assume he'll get that a little bit higher. Historically, his 3 point shooting is actually like pretty good. He was almost at 40% last year on 6 attempts per game. So maybe he can get that back up into the 30s. I imagine this will go up a little bit. But yeah, he's been a little disappointing to start the year.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah, I wonder, have the Warriors been like getting lucky with the teams they've played? I guess not really. The
I
Pelicans
Yeah, I feel like they had some good ones. They smacked the Pelicans too.
under.
Warriors are an easy win. Kings though, they beat the Kings in a competitive game. They did lose the Suns, but that was the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Rockets, yeah, we'll kind of see if things keep going. Let's see, they beat the Thunder on Friday in a close game, but that was also kind of like a BS game because I don't know if you saw like the finish of that game, but essentially they won on like a Steph Curry layup to Draymond Green, like clearly goaltended in, and then they reviewed it and still called it not goaltending, but it like very clearly
Oh,
was.
I did
And
not.
then and yeah, and then like and it was like with 0.2 seconds left, so like the Thunder just like lost. They didn't even have time to get a shot off. So that was kind of BS. That was definitely like a Golden State call and like one of like the worst calls I've ever seen, especially because it was reviewed and they still called it incorrectly. Um, but like here nor there, like the Warriors, I think are good. I think they're legit.
Yeah, I think they'll drop off a bit and maybe have some struggles because I don't know. Clay has looked okay. Steph has looked amazing. Guys like
Yeah, Clay hit a game winner though.
Moody and Gary Payton have come in and played valuable minutes and they look good, but it's like I'm like their core to me looks a bit sus.
Yeah, if you were going to, and this is actually gonna be really hard. I shouldn't bring this up, but I'm going to. Like, if you were to give like your top five teams in the West right now, 6, 7 games into the season, like how are you ordering them? Obviously, Nuggets won. Like, who's like two through five?
Interesting. Um, oh,
right? And like the
Yeah,
West
the
is
West
always like this,
sucks.
where it feels like all these teams are like super sticky because we've got like the Mavs 3, Pelicans 4 in the standings right now, which like might be good, but they might also be in the play-in tournament. Spurs are like 7 right now. It's like I don't know where to put these teams. My quick stab looking at this is I'm gonna leave the Warriors 2 because like I just feel like there isn't like another standout team that can really get up there. Yeah, I'd probably say Warriors 2. I kind of still want to put the Suns up there.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like I can't at this point of the year with them at
It's
2 and 4.
six
So
games, man. It doesn't mean all that much.
I'm still gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna say Suns 3.
Like you said, Book only has played 2 games.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'm gonna say Suns 3, Clippers 4, Pelicans 5. That's what I'm gonna do. Although like I feel weird putting the Clippers there because I'm not that hot on the Clippers after this Harden trade.
I think regular season wise, the Clippers might just like be so deep.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck it. So that's what I'm gonna say.
I might just like what I'm feeling in my heart. I would maybe put the Clippers 2, put the Kings 3, Warriors,
The the
Suns.
regression monster was coming for the Kings.
Huh?
The regression monster was coming for the Kings.
Ah,
They had like the easiest schedule last season. I like the Kings, but I think they're probably like somewhere in like 5 through 8 seeds.
they need Vezenkov to play more. I'll say that much. But
Agreed. He's only getting like 10 minutes per game. Like, come on,
I
put him
still
in the
like
starting lineup already.
I like Barnes. I like Murray. I like Fox. I like Sabonis.
Yeah, Murray's been really good. He's improved a lot this season. Just like he's just taking more shots. It's like he was really good last year, but it was kind of low volume, and he's definitely like stepping up into like that like third scorer role. I really like him. I think he's a good fit there.
Um, I'll be honest, I haven't watched much of the Pelicans. I know you have CJ in fantasy, so I kind of want to hear your take. But I mean, on paper, they look pretty good, and I see CJ performing for your team. Zion has been healthy, not a great fantasy player, but he's putting up good NBA stats. So give me
Yeah,
your take.
I just think like the Pelicans offense makes a ton of sense right now,
Yeah,
which I love to see. It's like CJ's been doing a really good job conducting it. He's been better than even I expected. Like he has kind of been the focal point of the offense. And it almost feels like Ingram and Zion are almost in secondary roles. Granted, Ingram has missed some time as expected. And I think Zion's probably still like getting into the swing of things. But yeah, it's looked really good. Like CJ's been super efficient, great passer. Zion still looks as explosive as ever and looks incredible. And I think his stats will continue to improve as the season goes. But it's like you've got like CJ getting like 21 points per game. I think Zion's 22 points per game, Ingram 20. So they've got this really strong three-headed monster of guys who are just like really good, really efficient, all pretty good passers. So the ball moves around nicely.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I love it. It's like really good point guard with like two really good forwards. It's
that
just an
is.
awesome team.
Yeah. All right, I'm convinced. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and the
Zion, I think you were talking about this in the offseason. He's a very quick decision maker. He is very efficient. He can pass a little bit. He's a willing passer. Ingram has improved tremendously in that regard too. So between those three, it makes a lot of sense. I guess I don't really know what to expect from other role players on that team, but I need to tune in more.
yeah, I mean, like what I'd say is like Dyson Daniels has actually been like really good. I think he's coming along nicely to where it's like he's like an awesome like backup point guard and like legit NBA player. Like you're not putting him out there just for development minutes right now. Like he's like a legitimate contributor on this team, which is awesome.
I mentioned him in the offseason.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So he's an awesome prospect. I love him. Herb Jones has like played his role nicely. Like we all kind of know what he brings. He can play a lot of minutes. Really good defender, good rebounder. Not going to give you a whole lot on offense. Like the offense has not been there this year and has maybe taken a step back. He's been a little cold to start off the year, but still a good minutes guy. And like weirdly, like the Valanciunas fit is like actually pretty good because everyone on the team is like super versatile except for him. So it's like fine. Like you get all like the movement on defense around him, and he just kind of sits in the paint to be this incredible rebounder and just like total bruiser when they need it. Like when he gets mismatches, he's actually so good at taking advantage of them. Just like really good at backing people down in the post, getting offensive
Yeah.
rebounds. So he brings like a nice old school element to this team that feels like very sleek and modern.
That's Yeah, well said. And Val, I think, is constantly one of the more underrated guys in the league. Um,
Yeah,
watching him in FIBA carry Lithuania, like he's such an excellent post player. Just an extremely talented offensive player. Like that guy can shoot it.
yeah, yeah. He had a against the Pistons on Friday. He had 23 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. Like he's just another guy that's out there who can just get you a win. Like if he's on that night or he has the right matchup, you can have other people who are like missing games or maybe not bringing their best performance, and he can step up and still get you a win. So and I feel like they've got 4 players who can do that, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad they don't have like Trey Murphy in the mix because he would be awesome.
Yeah, he's going to be back though. He's only going to miss the first couple of months of the season, so he'll probably come back around the midway point, and then like he brings like he is like such like a missing piece in this already really good team because he shoots the lights out, and he just has an incredible build. He's like 6'7", small forward, good transition player, really smart player, super efficient. So when you get him back in the mix too, like this team just gets so dangerous.
I'm convinced. And yeah, just the Western Conference looks kind of gross right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, quick summary, like the Mavericks, I was decently hot on them and I think they could be a playoff team, and that was kind of my hot take. I don't think they're sustaining this at all. The Pelicans, though, I think I can be convinced. Clippers, I think, can be an amazing regular season team. Timberwolves, I still like. Sometimes they make me very angry, but I
Yeah,
like their depth.
yeah, I think with the T Wolves, I feel like it's kind of you get what you get with that team, and like they're pretty good. Um, they match up well with the Nuggets, so if that's their playoff matchup, like maybe they can do something. But yeah, I don't know. It always just feels like they're kind of lacking something. It feels like they're lacking a bit of a spark on offense. I expected Ant to take like a slightly bigger step this year. Like I think during the offseason, I think we both said we're like, can Ant get into the MVP conversation this year? Looks like he's not going to get close to that conversation, but at least like he's like a fringe all star at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We're still early into the year though. But there are a lot of mouths to feed on that um, Minnesota team. So it might be hard to average 30 points per game when it's like Cat still needs to get his and like Conley and Gobert still going to score a little bit. Gobert's been really good this year though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's looking back in form. Cats looked all right. Like the scoring has definitely taken a dip, but he's shown kind of moments of clarity or his old self. Like I mean, it hasn't been bad. I have him in fantasy, so
Yeah,
um, I don't know any other overreactions we want to make. I mean, the Lakers have looked pretty mid.
yeah. The Lakers are a big one. I think like the Lakers actually look awful. Like I think this team is like not good. I
Not
could
at
see
all.
them not making. I could see them not making playoffs this year. I could see them like being a play-in team and like losing in the play-in, even if they're like the eighth seed. Like I could see them losing like a 2 game series to somebody else creeping in.
I
They just
mean,
don't look that. They just don't look that good. It's like LeBron is still like good and he's playing his ass off, but I don't. So old at this point that 82 games into the season, I feel like he's probably gonna be pretty worn down. Davis just like still feels like he's unwilling to be the top guy every night, so he feels kind of inconsistent. Reeves has sucked. We said it this offseason that he's not going to be good, and everyone's
yeah.
overreacting to him.
Who knew that a
He let,
26-year-old would not take like a massive leap? He's
yeah,
still
and he's like,
good. He's just the same as he was last year.
honestly, well, he's worse than last year right now.
Is he?
It was kind of like, yeah, I felt like it was a little bit of an insanity run where I was like, I don't know if this undrafted free agent can kind of like keep up this kind of shooting, and consistency. It's like I don't think I expected this big of a regression, and I think he'll probably get more comfortable as the year goes. But I think it's clear like he's nothing more than like a solid like 3 point shooting guard. Like he's not like the third star that they tried to make him out to be this offseason.
Yeah, kind of insane to even think that like 15 points per game is like kind of his ceiling, and like
Yeah, people were expecting like near all star. Like I think ESPN had him projected to score like 20 points per game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. I'm like, do we know who we're talking about here? Like I know he had like a fun playoff run, but like this guy's not like that.
yeah. And I mean he's clutch and he has some good vibes, I guess. But yeah, no, on paper, um, there's definitely like I think a pretty hard ceiling. And people forget he's like 25, 26 already. Like
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just like I've watched a lot of the Lakers, and I don't know, they just don't look very good from what I've seen.
yeah, I mean people forget that last year
Best sweep ever, most competitive sweep ever.
but they truly had like a miraculous second half of the season. I mean, they were horrible up until I forget when. I mean, LeBron dealt with the foot injury, but they had a
Yeah,
disastrous start to the season.
yeah, but they did make good trades. Like I think this team is still better than the team they were working at the start of last season.
Of course,
Like I
yeah,
still think the
Westbrook.
team's yeah, exactly. Getting Russ out of there and like D'Lo has been streaky at the start of the year, but I've actually kind of like what I've seen out of him so far, and I think he can actually be like a good third option on this team. The Lakers do need to let go of Reeves being that option, but like I think D'Lo's a decent option. I still do kind of like their role players. Like I think Wood has given them decent minutes. Um, Hachimura is like not that good, but I always thought he was a little bit
Sucks.
overrated. But like Vanderbilt's also injured right now, and I do like Vanderbilt. So
Yeah.
I think this team is still okay. But the West is really deep, and even looking at the standings right now, like they're in eighth right now, and there are teams beneath them in the standings who I think are going to jump them. Because like I think the Thunder will jump them. I think the Kings will jump them. I think the Suns will jump them. And of teams above them, like the only team that I could really see falling out of that area is like the Spurs, maybe. But maybe not because the Spurs look really good. So I don't know. It's like I just look at these teams here and I just kind of think the Lakers are in like the bottom five.
Yeah, man. I still really think the Kings. I'll die on that hill. I think they're going to end up as like a top 3 or 4 team in the Western Conference in the West. But I really like the pieces as a strong regular season team. But looking at the East, Hornets disastrous. Pacers look okay. I feel like we were pretty on it with the East. I mean, there's kind of some early um things that
Yeah,
like the Cavs are two
yeah,
and four and the Knicks are 2 and 4. I think that'll.
yeah, and I think the Knicks are like really worth talking about because I think
Oh, yeah, let's touch on the Knicks.
I think it's possible that like Randall is not just not good at basketball, and like that's kind of been like the theme going around Twitter. It's definitely like a big overreaction because like he's been very capable the last couple of years, but he's always been this like very inefficient shot chucker, and it might finally be catching up to him to where like there's a very fine line with him when it comes to efficiency, and it's like if he hits it, then he's good enough for this team to get wins. But if he's playing like he is right now, it's like this team just has no chance to be good.
On NBA Twitter, there was kind of a viral clip where Brunson took maybe not the best shot, but then
But Brunson had like 45 points that game.
right. And then the body language from Randall, he kind of scolds Brunson and then just like completely doesn't get back on defense, leading to an and one from I think Damian Lillard on the other end, costing them the game essentially. So
Yeah, Brunson had 45 points that game, and Randall's currently averaging 14 points per game on 27% from the field.
yeah,
He's
Randall's
just been
funny. Like he also like has like literally he has a horrible season, then an amazing, not amazing, but his scoring will go from 25 to 20 to 25. So now he's kind of this should be his bad season year, but it might be an astronomically worse season than even expected. But like,
yeah, it's kind of interesting. And like the Knicks have always kind of been the spot where it felt like they had enough pieces to get by, but they were never going to be good enough to actually, get into like that upper echelon in the East. And I think it's possible that like this like mini window of competency is just passing them by, and it might just fizzle out and they'll just not be good. They'll kind of find their way in like the Bulls category of like having decent players, but nobody good enough to actually, push to be competitive.
yeah, I've been kind of hot on the Knicks in recent years, and um, I feel like in a way I was kind of right about them being like decent, and then them beating the Cavs. I mean, like little predictions that I feel like I was kind of on the right side of, but I kind of agree that I kind of think the Knicks magic has ended, and it's the vibes are no longer there. Tibbs is kind of I don't know. I've never really liked Tibbs. to begin with, but the combination of him and Randall and kind of, I don't know, quickly, who I think wants a bigger role and like, I don't know, it's just not there. And this offseason, I
Yeah.
thought they had some nice additions with Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart was nice, but I'm
Yeah,
not
those are all just like small moves. Like, like if you're like a championship team, you add them like huge, but like it's not going to move the needle for you as like a fifth or sixth seed.
exactly. Mitchell Robinson is like so
Yeah,
uninspired.
he's decent though. He's actually having like a solid year for them. But yeah, no, the Knicks are in need of a move that probably gets Randall out of there and maybe even Barrett as well. And I kind of like Barrett, but like it's like you need like sweeten the pot at this point because like if you're trading Randall, like you're not getting assets for Randall. It's like Randall's kind of like the contract swap. You sweeten the pot by including Barrett and like all your draft picks. Obviously, their dream is like they do that trade to get Embiid. I don't think that's going to happen like soon enough for them. Like
No.
I think this team is going to expire before Embiid is on the market.
And the
But
Sixers are gonna, I think, convince Embiid like
I think so too. They're gonna give him like the most ungodly super max whenever they get the chance to. And that will pretty much be that.
and it's back to being his show, and I think he loves that. And
Yeah,
Maxi's a great second superstar. That's not going to be as egotistical as James, and they're going to win games. So,
yeah,
and Philly's close enough to New York where if he wants to go spend some time in New York, he just takes the train over. It's like an hour and a half.
yeah. So Knicks are down bad right now. Heat are down bad right now, and the Heat do just seem like they're bad. Like Butler,
Yeah.
if he's been really bad, he's definitely like not 100%. But I think it's also possible he's a guy where like the injuries have kind of caught up to him, and this just might not be his year. And all they did this offseason was lose pieces, so they just don't seem that good. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna be great, but who knows? Like maybe they can do their usual sneak into the play in and then be amazing in the playoffs. So don't count them out yet.
Because Hero
Especially
is
because Hero looks amazing. Hero looks like an all
incredible.
star. He looks like their best player right now.
One of my biggest regrets not taking him in fantasy because he's also just a great rebounder. He can pass like decently well, and then he's just like a flamethrower. So
Yeah.
no
I had
one
him high.
else.
Like I was like, yeah, he was essentially like the guy after. Like if Kuzma was gone, like I would have taken Hero in the fifth round. Like in hindsight, it's like I should have taken him over Kuzma, but
Totally.
uh, that's
Fifth
always tough
round
with
is
the ESPN
crazy.
rankings.
I need to go
Yeah,
back.
it's
Why fucking
yeah. We'll save it for the fantasy episode. Other disappointment in the East is obviously I think the Cavs right now, but it's early. I think they'll figure it out.
yeah.
Donovan Mitchell is like playing at like an MVP level right now. I think he's averaging 33 points per game. I think like 5 rebounds, 5 assists, like 2 steals or something like that. Like the defense has been amazing. The offense has been obviously incredible. He's been shooting the lights out. Disappointing start for them, but also Garland has pretty much missed the entire season along with Jared Allen. So they don't have their full roster together.
And like you said, Mitchell carrying, and there's kind of some good signs there with Struess looking like an amazing ad with Mobley. I think although the stats I don't think look like he's improved, I think he's been shooting a bit more and he looks in form. So I think
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
reason to be optimistic for sure.
yeah. Mobley looks incredible. He's a great player. My guy Amani Bates was getting minutes. Love to see it. He actually looked pretty good. So I think he'd be like a decent role player for them immediately. So it feels like they got deeper. It feels like the team actually got better from last season. They just need to be healthy.
And
So they're low right now, but like I'm not worried. I think they'll pretty easily get into like a top 4 or 5 seed.
and Yang is averaging 6 points on 23% 3-point shooting, 28% from the field.
Yeah, not super surprised that that signing amounted to nothing.
I thought it was okay, but no, it's looking pretty atrocious. So I
Yeah.
definitely was not on it with that one. I don't know. Let's see any other teams we can quickly touch on. I mean,
I really did the big ones. Only like mini shout out I'd give is like Asar Thompson has been like kind of awesome for the Pistons. The shooting is atrocious. Like he probably has the most air balls ever through like 5 or 6 games. But he's an amazing rebounder, insane defender. Kind of feels like a nice fit next to Cade. Hopefully, he can figure out the jump shot at some point. But he's looked awesome. And for shouting out like rookies, like Brandon Miller has also looked really good. That
yes.
all of a sudden that looks like an awesome pick by the Hornets taking him over Scoot, and it's almost like yeah, duh. It's like two-way small forwards that can shoot and are athletic. That's like the most valuable position in the league. Like, of course, you want that over like a 6'1" point guard. But that's looking like a big brain pick that everyone gave the Hornets shit for.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I tried to be self-aware this off season and say I don't know shit about this draft class. Like I'm not really gonna have a strong take. Um, but at the same time, I think I was slightly more team Brandon Miller than team Scoot. Um, but again, I admitted that I didn't really know shit, and I've kind of taken my like yeah, I'm not making any draft takes anymore until I see them play in the NBA because I don't watch college and I always have horrible takes when it comes to that. So
Yeah, yeah. And then one other rookie to shout out is Chet. Chet is immediately amazing. I love
oh
Chet.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
total stud. He could be an instant all-star. He can do it all. Like the ball handling is incredible. The shooting's amazing. The defense is as advertised, if not better. Like he's such a freak. And like having him and Wembanyama enter the league at the same time is such a treat. They're both two of my favorite players to watch already.
totally. Yeah, and it seems like the pecking order is he's second after SGA at this point.
Yeah, which is like amazing because he joined a stacked Thunder team with like J Dub and Giddy, and they were like, "No, you're clearly just so good that we will feed you the ball. You can run point like whenever you want to." Like he'll just like grab rebounds and just take it the full length, and it's like I just don't know how you stop this guy.
Yeah, so awesome. Um, I guess another mini shout out to Ben Simmons, who still is very much
Yes,
struggling with
yes,
scoring.
yeah, but like still like solid take by us though this offseason. Like there were definitely a lot of doubters as there should have been, but I don't know. We had a feeling that he was gonna have a solid turnaround this season, get healthy, play seriously, and he's looked really good. Like the passing, rebounding, and defense is all still there. Scoring's not all the way back, but they don't need him since they have the best scorer of all time in Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges, who's also really good.
Yeah, it's still sometimes a tough watch with I don't know. It's like he's a physical specimen, and yet he's taking these weird like turnaround post hooks and like he's clearly evading contact, and it's
Yeah,
the passing is so excellent. He might be, a top five, top 10 passer. I mean, I think in terms of assists, he is. And you just want to see him be a bit more assertive and really find his scoring touch. Cause
yeah. It feels like it's been a while though since he's been like out there every night playing basketball.
yeah,
So I'm hoping it might be like a comfort thing. Like the more he plays and like the more he actually does get fouled and gets sent to the the free throw line. I'm hoping like the more that happens, like the more he just gets comfortable again being out there. And, like maybe we'll never see him getting like 16, 17 points per game again, but ideally he can get up to like 12 or 13.
yeah, that's
And he's done in the past. Like he's been a good enough scorer in the past. I think he can get back to it in some capacity.
but you get the feeling that his rebounding, his passing, and his defense are actually valued and appreciated for that Nets team. And it's not just like he's out there just to be out there. He's actually uh becoming or is a valued piece in that core. And I don't know, it seems the scoring hasn't been too much of an issue for that group. So that's kind of nice to see. I'm happy we
Yeah, I agree. Good feel good story. Definitely nice to see things turn around a little bit for Ben Simmons.
all right. I think we've touched on almost everything that
Yeah,
I
that was like
could.
our quick swing through of essentially the first 2 weeks of the NBA season, just like touch on everything that's kind of interesting. We'll hone in on a topic for the next episode, but I feel like there was too much going on not to give everybody a little shout out.
Are you in the mood to talk a bit of fantasy and release another episode, or do you want to do that maybe early next week?
It's definitely coming. It's definitely coming.
Okay.
Um, we'll figure it out, but stay tuned. It'll happen soon enough.
We'll talk off air.
Yeah, exactly. We'll work out the logistics. We'll talk to the production team, see if they can stick around.
Sounds good. All right. It's been another episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. Harold McBasketball Show is what I meant to say.
Yeah, get it right.
Smash that like button,
Yeah,
subscribe, comment, turn on the bell notification, follow the Twitter, tell your friends. That's everything.
yeah.
Goodbye.
God bless.
God bless.